Hello and welcome to Eternal Durdles. I'm your host, Zach Clark, and with me as always, Phil Bleckman. And because you demanded it, special guest, Nate the Goalie is back, folks. Nate, how's it going?
Good. I think I demanded it because I wanted to do the Italian.
It's true.
I mean, is it a shame that there wasn't a card called "I'm Walking Here"?
I'm walking here.
There was
the
easiest enchantment aura that just says your creature's unblockable there's ever been, and they just didn't pull the trigger on it.
Yep.
Yeah,
unblockable. Like just make a creature unblockable. I'm walking here.
I don't. There is a lot of like stolen like concepts from movies and stuff here, and some of it's kind of funny.
Yeah. So obviously,
like, isn't there one where someone like turns into a fish? It's like so like they give him a fish. Sleeping with the fishes.
Sleeping with the fishes, and it locks down a creature. You know,
and makes
like,
a fish.
Well, there is a concrete shoes which I threw onto here. We'll talk about that. So in case you stumbled upon this somehow and you don't already know, this is our annual setual review episode where we look at the cards but right before they come out. All of Streets of Capenna is spoiled. We're gonna not do any of the commander cards. We'll do that some other time, but this is all 281 cards, what we picked out of those cards to talk about. So I guess without any further ado, we should get to it, huh?
Yeah, let's go to the streets of New Capenna.
All right. So first things first, we're going, if you want to follow along with us at home, we're going right down Mythic Spoiler and just going that way. So first we'll start off with Raffine, Scheming Seer. Nate, do you want to read these off?
You want me to read them off?
Yeah, why not?
White, blue, black. For 1/4, legendary creature Sphinx Demon with flying and ward 1. Whenever you attack, target attacking creature connives X, where X is the number of attacking creatures. To connive, you draw cards equal to the connive number, and then discard that many cards, and then you put a +1/+1 counter on the creature for each non-land card discarded this way. Okay, it sounds cool. It's never gonna happen. You're gonna connive 1, maybe.
Yeah, this is a connive 1 for sure. This is gonna end up being at best, and there are no Esper decks really in the format right now that want this creature. But if we see something like Esper Mentor or something that wants this as a 1 of, the ward 1 is cute. And I just like the idea that this creature isn't bolt bait either. Like it's gonna, if it gets in, you're gonna be able to do some cycling.
It's ward 1 on a 3-drop though.
Yeah,
that's functionally just like a minor annoyance.
Yeah,
it's gonna get hit with the swords. Or
it's when we get into ward 2, 3, and 4 that things get crazy.
And I will say it's funny you said this is an Esper deck that one could conceive like, I'll get a Bitter Blossom into play. I'll play Lingering Souls. I'm already conniving. I'll play Lingering Souls, but you're never going to do it because the other guy's going to play Uro.
This is
or that turtle or whatever. I don't know.
Yeah, I think the turtle Kappa Cannoneers is going to be more likely to be swinging at you. But that said, I thought the 1/4ness of this creature as a 3-drop, and the fact that it does grow, and
the 1/4ness of this creature,
the 1/4ness, the horned turtleness of this creature, That's what I was looking at with this, but that gives us a perfect time to talk about all the different mechanics that each of these guilds, families have. Each of the families.
5 families, bro.
5 families.
It's for the family. We're doing it for the family.
It's the Casa
all the 5
Nostra.
boroughs.
You're doing it for the family.
So Obscura has connive. We've already discussed connive. Then you have casualty with the Maestros, and casualty is basically a casualty in a number and sack power up to that number, and that will copy that spell.
It's not up to that number. It is that number.
It has to be exactly that number.
Oh yeah.
No, it has to be that number or greater.
Yeah.
Right. But you can't sacrifice less than or multiple.
Oh yeah. Anyway. Sorry. I mean, yeah, or greater, of course. Then you've got Blitz in the Riveteers, and that's basically what's the old mechanic that did this?
Dash.
Well, you're saying
dash,
dash.
but you sacrifice
it's not really dash,
and you draw a card.
Yeah. So with this blitz mechanic, you play it for the blitz cost, which gives it haste, and then it dies at the end of turn. And then anytime it dies, if you cast it for a blitz cost, you draw a card. So if it dies in combat, or you sacrifice a friend.
Just the number of guys, every single thing just draws a card. Every card just draws a card.
Well, it also is too bad. It doesn't just draw a card if it dies naturally. Like if you cast it, it dies, doesn't draw a card. If you
Here's
cast
the thing. When did we ever think that like Swords to Plowshares? It sucks that Swords to Plowshares is the hero. Swords to Plowshares is the hero. The hero of swords.
But yeah, I mean, I don't know. I feel like it's similar. It's similar to Dash, but I think that possibly there's the thing is that just Dash just did not have any good targets either. There was no reason to dash anything ever. Whereas like with the blitz cards, there's a little bit more like decisions to be made generally. Ragavan
dashed around my prismatic ending quite a bunch.
Yeah, until they printed literally a dash card that had so much text on it that it needed to be banned. Yeah. But anyway, I don't know.
Yeah, it's obviously too good is what we learned. It's too good. So it's overpowered.
So, okay. So moving on to the Cabaretti, they have Alliance, which is basically creature fall, like landfall, but for creatures, right?
Yeah.
Sounds like it. Yeah.
That's basically, I can't think of a better way to explain that. A creature comes into play, effect happens.
Mm-hmm.
And then finally, what we got left? The Brokers. It's about shield counters and +1/+1 counters. They don't really have.
It's just Divine Shield, right, from Hearthstone.
Yeah, it is. It is literally Divine Shield from Hearthstone.
There is a sub theme that they have of removing counters from shit.
Yeah. So now that we have
true, I didn't even know it. Considering how there's a deck that's built around removing 10 counters, I had no idea that was.
It's subtle, but like it's subtle, but like you see it as we go through the mob boss family leaders here. Falco Spara, who's the Brokers one, the sub theme is on Falco, where it's like you can remove shit to do shit.
Yeah,
and
there are a couple things like that.
It's unnamed, and there isn't like a vampire hexmage, but there is a subtle. If you have counters, you can remove them to do things.
Yeah, you can get value out of removing counters. All right, so let's bring it on to Lord Xander, the Collector, next.
4 blue, black, and red for a legendary creature, vampire demon noble. When Lord Xander, the Collector, enters the battlefield, target opponent discards half the cards in their hand, rounded down. Whenever Lord Xander attacks, defending player mills half their library, rounded down. Whenever Lord Xander dies, target opponent sacrifices half the non-land permanents they control, rounded down. He has a 6/6.
That's a lot of text. I think that.
Moving on.
Basically, you should definitely just be playing like Sire of Insanity instead.
Or Archon of Cruelty, which is
or Archon of Cruelty, of course. I think that this is a card that you could look at and think, oh, there's a lot of text on this. Let's play it in Reanimator. But like, there's just better stuff to be doing.
There is one word on this card. Phil, you want to take a crack at it? That
what
does
card?
Give it, the card we just read, Lord Xander. There's one word on it that makes it somewhat interesting. No?
Wait, yes. Vampire.
It's a vampire.
Yeah,
for
it's
that
a vampire.
Sorin.
Right? Yeah, we're getting closer
it's a vampire
to
for
vampire
that
sneaking show, right?
Well, it's just the Sorin vampire deck, right? So the best vampire I still think is Garza Zal, because that has haste and they hypnotic specters when it hits people. But I guess you would just put this in. They discard half their cards, and then maybe you just Cabal Therapy to make them sacrifice permanents. And I don't know what you do with that, but anyway.
Yeah. I mean, maybe it's a one-of in Sneak and Show, right? Like, boop, play that.
Nah.
Yeah.
Anyhow, way better. We can put Archon or whatever.
Yeah.
That
you can put Blightsteel Colossus into play, and that
very true.
And that would just win, yes.
Yeah. So I didn't have any of the other. None of the other 3 were even worth talking about. I don't think anybody would make the mistake of trying to throw those into a Reanimator Sneak and Show deck.
I would have really enjoyed if Falco Spara was a 3-drop instead of a 4-drop and just gave it weaker stats, because playing off the top of the library where you can look at it any time is exactly the style of play that I enjoy. And I would love to do this if it wasn't priced out of Legacy.
I just don't know about it. Well, it's the Swords of Plowshares question with this card, because it will survive 1 Pyroblast and 1 Bolt, which is pretty good.
Oh yeah, my issue was that it was 4 mana.
Well, let's talk about it.
But you can play it.
Does, right?
Yeah. Okay. Falco Spara Pact Weaver 1 green, white, blue. Legendary creature Bird Demon. It's a 3/3 with flying and trample. It enters the battlefield with a shield counter on it, and that means that a shield counter, if the creature would be dealt damaged or destroyed, instead you remove the shield counter. So actually, if you ping it with like a lava dart, it loses the shield counter.
Yeah.
You can look at the top card of your library anytime, and you may cast spells from the top card of your library by removing a counter from a creature you control, in addition to paying their other costs. It's too much to ask for Legacy. I mean, what? There's no deck that plays like...
It's a little grindy, right?
Like, what are you going to do? Shield Wall? And then this? I don't know.
It's
like,
way too much. But it's one of those things where if it was just Bant, because I played Cemetery Illuminator, which does similar things of being able to play cards off the top of the library, and that card felt extremely close. Like, if that card was a 1/4 instead of a 2/3, at 3 mana, being able to interact with the graveyard, like that card felt very close to me, even though there were a lot of hoops to jump through.
I had initially
the value that you got off it was really strong, and I still experiment with it every once in a while. It's not good enough as a 2/3 for 3. But
is there anything where whenever you cast a spell, you put a +1/+1 counter on a creature or something?
Not that I can, not off the top of my head.
Not in the set, in general. I think there's got to be something like that.
I'm sure there's something.
Whenever
I mean, you've got
like
Oban, who's got like landfall, put a +1/+1 counter on a creature.
I mean, if you like had what's one of those artifacts that does that? There's artifact creatures that
or like proliferate. There might be like a.
But then you have to get this. You have to get this gold creature into play.
Well, that's the thing is like I looked at this initially and I thought it was interesting until I read that you had to remove the counter to get to play the thing, and I was like, that's like if it just said like now as long as this is in play, you can do the thing. Like for 1 more mana, you can get Future Sight, you know.
Yeah. And that doesn't
probably
get
like it's as hard to cast. I feel like 3 blue or like Bant is like as restrictive. But I unfortunately just couldn't figure out a way to talk about that card and be like, yeah, this is what you want to be doing in Bant. And it's also like, you know, minus the fact that it has the shield on it, it also has a 3/, so there is that too.
Yeah, we spent way too much time on Falco.
It's true. So let's talk about Toluz, Clever Conductor.
All right, so this is a hybrid white-blue, hybrid blue-black, and a blue, which means you can pay 3 blue effectively to cast it. It's a 3/1 legendary creature, human rogue. Toluz enters the battlefield and connives just once. So you draw a card, you discard a card. And if you discard a non-land card, you put a +1/+1 counter on it. Whenever you discard 1 or more cards, exile them from your graveyard. When Toluz dies, put the cards exiled with it into their owner's hand. There's so many cards. So this is like another one of those cards where it like kind of gets around discarding, right?
Yeah, like
Riel was the first one.
Bag of Holding and stuff like that. Yeah.
What was the other one? What was the artifact creature that just came out?
Oh yeah.
No, there's a Ruth, but there's
something
like
something construct, containment construct.
Yeah, right. But this doesn't do the same thing as that. That lets you cast it that turn when you discard it.
Well, you have to cast it immediately, whereas this is like now you're getting them all back in your hand, and
when it's
value there's value to be gained later.
Okay, so hold on. Let's. This is not. You're not playing it. You're not playing this for fun. You're putting it in a deck where you're trying to break it.
Yeah.
So you do this and you crack your LED, and then you somehow kill this. So you have like an onboard sack effect maybe, and then you get all your cards back with your mana.
Yeah.
Or
I mean that's one thing you can do for sure.
So if you have breakthrough, you get 4 plus the amount of cards in your hand, and then again you have to kill this somehow. So you play a high, like you go like high market, right? Like again, I'm not sure exactly what we're discarding cards.
I mean, but I'm looking at this guy as like
you can't get your Cabal Therapy to the graveyard.
I'm looking at this card as like a 4/2 that
3/1. Oh, I guess
it's a 4/2 if you connive, right? Yeah. It's a 4/2, so it's a fine beater, you know, like for either Azorius, Esper, or Dimir, right? Like, you get that looting effect, and then if it dies, you get that card back. So it's tough because it's like
it's not tough. Uro exists. We're gonna say that a lot.
No, I don't know about that. No, this isn't competing with Uro. Well, I guess if it is, you're just being like I'm doing it for value. I think if you're like high, if you're like doing High Tide or something, like I don't know, you're making a lot of like it's all blue. So
if this had leave the battlefield, if you could bounce this to your hand, yes, I'm with you as a combo card. The fact that it has to die means that you have to now work to also make it die. So not only are we doing the work to discard all our cards, we're also doing the work to kill this thing. As
Also,
opposed to like,
yeah, not only that, but so it's separate triggers. So you cast Breakthrough, you discard 16 cards or whatever. I guess not 16. So you draw 4, and you'd have like the max would maybe like 6 in your hand. So you discard 10 cards, and then while the trigger is on the stack to exile them from your graveyard, your opponent just hits it with swords.
Yeah, this is also
and so you have to sacrifice
not
it.
great.
you want to know
this
what
is
broke
why
my
I'm
heart?
talking about stuff like this.
If it
so that
wasn't
you can see those
instead-
scenarios before you make those mistakes, right?
Yeah,
You know what broke my heart? I played Watcher for Tomorrow from Modern Horizons 1, which is the 2/1 wizard with Hideaway.
Oh
Yeah.
yeah.
Oh, and then
And I'm playing-
I love that guy.
I'm playing it. I'm playing it in Wizard, Tribal, and Legacy. I'm just having fun. I'm trying something different, trying something spicy. I'm like, here's a 2/1 that's going to impulse. I'm going to draw a card every time. I don't care. It's like a Baleful Strix. This is great. I sit down. I'm like, all right, slam this on 2, trigger. And they're like, all right, yeah, trigger on the stack. I'm going to bolt that. And I'm like, cool, I'm going to impulse. And they're like, I don't think that's how that works. And I'm like, come on, man. Come on. It's a Modern Horizons card. It's obviously I still get to do everything for free.
Yeah.
I get it. And then, no, you don't. It's
All
not
right. So the next card is Jinnie Fay, Jetmir's second.
Pour one out for Evelyn.
Okay, so this is a red-green hybrid, a green-white hybrid, and a green. So it's up to 3 green, or you can cast it for 3 green.
It's 3 green and it's an elf.
Yep. 3/3 legendary creature elf druid. If you would create 1 or more tokens, you may instead create that many 2/2 green cat creature tokens with haste, or that many 3/1 green dog creature tokens with vigilance. By the way, that makes no sense. The dogs should clearly have haste. They're 3/1s, and the cats should be vigilant because they're cats.
Yeah.
Like, what in what world does a dog have vigilance and a cat have haste? Has anyone in this company ever seen an animal? What on earth are you talking about?
This is the content everyone came here for, is to have
So
me
stupid.
just fly off the handle about
It's
tokens.
so stupid. When the mailman comes to my door, my dog loses his shit, and my cat just watches. Yes, haste and vigilance. Anyway,
I think that was as masterful of an analysis and as deep as this card goes.
Yes. So the only reason
only
I
cool
even
thing about
wanted
this-
to talk about this card was because I wanted to ask if there's any situation where you're making enough tokens to replace them with like slightly better tokens even matters.
No.
I don't think there is.
well,
That's
if it-
short of you.
yeah.
How about Cradle? How about turn all my elves into dinosaurs instead of dogs? Kill you.
Yeah, I think that's the problem with this. It's also 3/3. If it had flash, maybe because you could like end of turn, drop it in, untap, and play Deranged Tournament, which would be kind of fun. But no, that's not going to work. Anyway, where are we going next?
Rigo, Streetwise Mentor.
Okay, 1 green-white hybrid, 1 blue-white hybrid, 1 white, so 3 white. 2/2 legendary creature cat citizen. Comes in with a shield counter. Whenever you attack a player or planeswalker with 1 or more creatures with power 1 or less, draw a card. Now this is dog shit. Like, let's move on.
Moving on.
Doesn't what's his Edric just draw a card for every creature?
Doesn't Uro draw a card?
Right. Yeah. No, I
All
mean
right.
if you're like I'm going wide and drawing a card, you could just get Edric, right? In the same colors, pretty much. All right, what's next?
So let's talk about the Ascendancies. Do any of these Ascendancies look even remotely playable?
Maestros and Riveteers are probably the closest, but neither of them are. So
Yeah, I wrote down as interesting. Like Obscura is interesting, but I don't think it's good enough. And the Riveteers to me seems the most interesting. But like I don't. There's not a slot for that.
Okay,
Obscura is objectively the worst one. Cabaretti, you could argue, is the best one, except it's in the worst colors. And
Yeah, there's no Naya text in this format.
It sucks because no, this wouldn't help a Naya deck. That's the problem because it's the same problem as Oath of Nissa, which is that it's a non-creature, non-land, and it searches for those. So you can just find other Cabaretti Ascendancies, and it's 3 mana. Broker's Ascendancy, I think is actually the one that you might see just because it has scale. So if you like have a bunch of creatures, if you are going wide deck and this is part of your plan, you can just drop this into play. It goes to the end step. Everything gets a +1/+1 counter. that's pretty
like
good.
Toss this in Maverick and see what happens.
I mean, you could do that actually. There's some pretty. There's a lot. You get a lot of creatures on the board. Gives your Hierarch's power, gives your Birds of Paradise power. Does stuff like Mother Runes. Yeah, all those things. Like I just don't think it's necessary. There's probably many better ways to put a +1/+1 counter on each creature you control. But anyway, that has the most. Everything else it's like I'm reading it. I'm like, okay, seems okay, but no. This seems okay, but no. Like Riveteer's Ascendancy is just kind of a weird recurring nightmare.
Yeah,
so it's worse. It's worse than Recurring Nightmare, which is good. So I don't know, whatever. All right, let's go on. Let's move on.
On the next row, Tenacious Underdog looks kind of cool, but like I don't know that there's a situation where you're going to be in such a grind that you're going to be trying to blitz this in from the graveyard.
Let's talk about
this. I could pay 4 mana to blitz or 4 mana for something else.
Well, yeah, that's the problem. But now I can't even read it because that's the problem.
JM Day Tome. It's like a worse JM Day Tome, right?
Yeah, you could be JM Day Toming.
It's a JM Day Tome that also Orcish Cannoneers, but in the other direction.
Okay, so then let's talk about Titan of Industry.
We have to talk about Titan of Industry. Okay, I was like, I thought you were gonna skip it. And I was like, no, we actually have to talk about Titan of Industry. Titan of Industry, 4 green for a 7/7 creature elemental. It has reach and trample. When Titan of Industry enters the battlefield, choose 2. Choose 2 of these. Destroy target artifact or enchantment. Target player gains 5 life. Create a 4/4 green Rhino Warrior creature token, or put a shield counter on a creature you control. So we're casting Natural Order. Why do we want this card? What are we doing? What's the situation?
Your opponent has Grafdigger's Cage, and somehow you cast it and they didn't notice.
Yeah, that was Blubber Grafdigger's Cage.
Yeah,
I have actually had a lot of ideas for this, but I thought I'd toss it out to you first.
Yeah, I mean, for me, this was either a interesting reanimator target, as in like, okay, I have to get something off the board to be able to attack, like my opponent has a moat out or something.
Mm-hmm.
Is this the first Titan that isn't a giant?
Yes, I think it's a different context.
Yeah.
Maybe. I don't know.
I mean, you're literally hitting them with the Senate, right?
Like hitting them with a factory.
Yeah,
like the cold hard truth of capitalism right here.
Literal Mishra's factory. Reach and trample is interesting, but like I don't give a shit about reach.
Doesn't matter.
This thing.
Yep.
The 4/4 is nice as like probably the second thing you're going to choose every time.
By the way, not true. Reach does matter.
Reach is the main thing that matters. It matters more than trample.
Okay. Well, reach, why? Tell me why.
Blocks Grizzlebrand. Blocks Grizzlebrand.
Blocks Grizzlebrand. Well, that's interesting. Okay.
It blocks the only creatures that see play in the format that are relevant that aren't white.
Sure, but I just feel like you want to be turning this sideways, like.
But not on the turn. Not on the turn it comes into play because it will have summoning sickness.
Yeah, that's fair.
Okay, so you're playing elves. Why are you never getting? Let's play elves. You're casting Natural Order. Why are you not getting Crater Hoof? There's a couple of reasons. One, your opponent, you don't have enough elves in play. Something's happened. Something's gone horribly wrong. 2, your opponent has a ensnaring bridge, right? Something like that.
Okay,
like you said.
Yeah.
Okay. So why are we? So why are you not getting Progenitus? In that case, your opponent has a ensnaring bridge. Krakus doesn't work on
Krakus is a thing.
This is true. Krakus does not actually work on.
But it's like, it has. Okay, you can't get Progenitus because they, same deal. They have that mode. They have an ensnaring bridge. Yeah. They have some sort of plan against Progenitus that maybe you're putting one creature in play and that they might have a sacrifice effect. That they've cleared your board of elves with something like Plague Engineer. And so you're only sacrificing your one creature to get your big win. So you want to get this instead. I do think that's those. I was going through the situations. When do I not want this? When do I not want Crater Hoof and Elves? When do I not want Progenitus? And I think that if this puts 15 power into play, like the worst case scenario puts 15 power to play, that might win a turn sooner than Progenitus. It also has reach.
11 power. And that is
11 because you make 2 Rhino Warriors because you get to choose. Oh wait, you don't get to choose.
I'm like, you can't choose the same mode.
Oh, okay. So I was wrong about that.
Wild.
Okay, so I had that. I had that as idea, but you can't do that twice. Okay, so either way, you're getting 11. You might be dead on the crackback against a Progenitus. Like maybe they have gone wide in some way. They have that Kappa Cannoneer which you can't block when they play a fucking artifact. So that's going to come through and hit you on the crackback.
You get that 5 life, maybe survive. And
5 life might work. Yep, that's what I mean. 5 life might work.
Obviously, you're still gonna have to pay the 4 on the ward to destroy the Kappa Cannoneer.
Well, you might get out of reach. You might get out of reach with the 5 life, and that gives you a chance to swing back. And you'll get to kill something else. You'll have a 7/7.
It is an interesting like tech card. Like this could be a card out of the sideboard for a few decks that want to cheat a creature into play.
My absolute favorite natural order target is still Dragon Lord Atarka. And I was like, I think that's the other thing. That's also a different situation. Because that's good. That was good when Young Pyromancer. I haven't played natural order seriously since Young Pyromancer was a legitimate threat, and Dragon Lord Atarka would just be the most brutal thing to do to them. But yeah, no, I think this card will see play. I think there are plenty of situations that decks will find themselves in where they want to that play natural order, which is really only L's right now. But you could make a case there'd be another one.
And
you can make cases is good enough to just play natural order.
If we don't say it at least once or twice an episode when we're doing these spoilers, it could probably work in Nick Fit.
Yeah, it could probably work in Nick Fit. I don't know. Seven's kind of a lot. And
7's not that much. You've got veteran explorers. Come on.
Yeah, I mean, well, Maverick to do the same thing with Guy if you had like Guy's Cradle going or something. But anyway, I thought this was an interesting design, though. I did think you could destroy 2 artifacts or create 2 guys. So now I think it might be a little bit worse. I guess I just misread it. Usually those things say you could pick the same mode more than once.
Yeah, it's more than once. Yeah. All right, let's talk about Void Rend.
White, blue, black, instant. This spell can't be countered. Destroy target non-land permanent.
It can't be countered part is the part that I'm like, this could see play if we're in a situation where we want like a control deck kind of card.
So now we need to make blue, white, black.
Yeah, Esper needs to be a thing.
And that means we've already got 4 Swords to Plowshares and some amount of Prismatic Ending.
Mm-hmm.
We also have Force of Will. So we don't need to let anything resolve that we can't kill with those.
Hey, this pitches to Force of Will, man.
You know the problem.
this is a really interesting card, though. That's what makes it so funny, because it's like, oh, you can't. What would it take for a 3 mana, just straight up removal, one removal spell to be playable? And
an overhaul of design.
Yeah, it can't be countered.
Overhaul of design. Even with this not being can't be countered. Prismatic Ending is good because it can trade at parity, right? Mm-hmm. You can't hit 5 drops really, but it trades at parity at 1 and 2, and it can play through a Chalice and Thalia. Void Rend can't do any of those things.
No.
The issue with this is that it's even if it traded with something that was 3 mana or above, that already went up a card, and this did not. The issue is that every single thing that this would remove already drew a card or did enough damage to be enough value that also snagging 3 mana and a card from you means that the exchange is favorable for your opponent. There will never be a situation.
That's very fair.
Like, if this could maybe hit lands to give you a little bit more outs against like Dark Depths or something, like more versatility. Just
we're never going to do that in Standard.
But like the
Stone
idea
Rain
that,
in blue.
Like this is going to be a mainstay in like Pioneer, and it will maybe show up in Modern in some.
Well,
it will never show up in Legacy.
Yeah, definitely. Like if you open these, hold on to them for like 2 months and watch them skyrocket, because every single person who plays EDH is going to need at least one of these, because everyone has like an Esper deck, right? Like
I get that Uro exists, and so Fractured
it's going to cost money.
Or what was the black-white card from Strixhaven that just also saw no play, but it was exile target. No, it was exile a monocolored permanent.
Oh, geez.
Yeah.
I know what you're talking about, but I don't.
Black-white instant, deal with pretty much everything that isn't Uro or Teferi, and also saw no play, which it might have been because it saw, you're in Source Plowshares, Fatal Push colors or whatever. But yeah, no, this is one of those cards where I saw it. I immediately was like, can't be countered, Vindicate. Oh my God, this is it. And then I was like, oh, wait a minute. Of course, let me think about it for a second.
Yeah. All right.
Hold on. There's a number. Oh, Vanishing Verse was the card you're thinking of. There was also a card called Fracture in Strixhaven. There were two.
Yeah.
Black-white removal spells in Strixhaven. So we forget. Where are we?
Maestros Diabolist.
Blue, black, red. So one of each for a 1/4 Vampire Warrior with Death Touch and Haste. Whenever it attacks, if you don't control a devil, create a tapped and attacking devil. When this creature dies, deals 1 damage to any target. Nah, you just goblin. What's a guy? Yeah, you don't need this.
Yeah.
Also, you only get one. You get one. You get one.
This was a card I wanted to be like, it's not good enough, but it's like it's close. And again, it's like some of these cards we're just choosing because it's like don't fall into the trap.
The threshold is a 2-mana 8/8 flyer that gets bigger.
Yes.
Yeah,
when you cast
right.
other 2-mana 8/8 flyers. Yeah, so let's talk about the lands real fast. Do we think any of these will see play outside of like Commander?
I have seen these tri lands with three land types as one-ofs in Legacy for very specific circumstances. Yeah. So someone will put one in a lands deck. There's a bunch of people playing Yorion. Like don't be the Yorion deck. It'll be fine.
This cycle, you'll see it.
Pop it in a Grixis control deck or something like that. Okay. Obscura Interceptor. Oh man, Obscura Interceptor. Sorry, I definitely wrote that wrong.
1 white, blue, black for a 3/1 creature cephalid wizard. Flash and lifelink. When it enters the battlefield, it connives. When it connives, return 1 target spell to its owner's hand. So this is a 4-mana bounce a spell.
Now so 4-mana bounce a spell with flash.
Well, it has to be.
Yeah, obviously. Obviously.
But okay, the reason why it's in here is flash, right? Like I wouldn't even be talking about this card if it was just 4 mana. And it did.
We shouldn't be talking about it anyway. But let me just I think the bigger point about this card really is how done dirty they did cephalids.
Yeah,
the return of cephalids.
Oh man.
The return of cephalids after like 30 years, or again, 20 years or whatever.
Yeah.
But like the return of cephalids, and none of them are playable. Come on, Wizards. Come on.
All right, the next card we don't even have to explain. I just want to say simply, Workshop Warchief is not Thragtusk.
Okay.
And Thragtusk isn't even playable in this format.
We don't want to talk about draw X. No, we don't need to do that. You draw X cards and you lose X life, and then you can
pay if you're paying X.
Yeah,
my guy.
Let's talk about cut the profits.
No, you're right. You're right.
You got Treacherous Blessing on a 3-mana enchantment that will cost you less life immediately and give you cards at a better rate. Yep. And that has seen actual 0 play in its entire existence. Also, whatever happened to Painful Truths?
So we talked.
The real cut of the profits is the Painful Truths.
Yeah. So we talked about this in chat, and I just wanted to bring it up because I thought some of the points we made were interesting, and that's the Devilish Valet.
Okay, so this is 2 and a red for a 1/3 Devil Warrior with Trample and Haste, and it has Alliance, which is what the creature fall mechanic is. So whenever a creature enters the battlefield under your control, double Devilish Valet's power until end of turn. What did we say? I forgot.
I mean, I think mostly that like casting, attacking with this and then like casting like Berserk or like it was Lingering Souls. Lingering Souls makes this like a 16 power creature, right?
No.
Like a Marty.
If you do it in the same turn.
Yeah,
that's not going to happen. If you have gone Glimpse of Nature, cast this, draw a card. Ornithopter, draw a card. Shield Sphere, draw a card. Now you're talking about a hasty trampling thing, but you're gonna. I don't think that's gonna work.
That's a whole combo.
I love a good Kobold Glimpse of Nature deck, but I don't think that would work. But that was the only thing I could think of to really break it.
That's pretty much what we were talking about.
Another card, by the way, extremely busted with Deranged Hermit. He's coming back. He's coming back because you'll put 5. If you curve this into a Deranged Hermit, you win. You don't even need to do anything else.
Well, that's like 32 power right there, right? What's it like? It's 2
to 2 to
right, 2
4 8 16 32. Yeah,
32 power. Just 2 to the
you could tooth and nail for both of them.
Ooh,
and
for both of them. Yeah, and then
you get Defense of the Heart for both of them.
But that's like you're attacking at that point for 512 damage. That's pretty sick.
Yeah, no, you wouldn't do that, would you?
If you got both of there's 2 Deranged Hermits. There's a fading one that came out in like one of the
no, I meant you Defense of the Heart for this and the Hermit.
Oh yeah, and that has Yeah, that would also
that would get you 32.
If
But
you
you could
already
also
had
get
it in play.
you could also get Emrakul or any other big creature, and that
Sure.
Xenagos that doubles it, which is, and then no one's done that, so no one has
really
tried
appreciated
it.
if this were a black zombie that you could pair with your Gravecrawler and Sack Outlets. I would have been in. I would have been live.
Yeah, just like cycling. I mean, technically, like you could just get. I mean, this is Wombo combo land, but you could have a zombie out this and Gravecrawler and a Phyrexian Altar and just go to town.
You could have it all.
You could just do
it.
You put this in the Altar of Dementia deck and all the zombies
There
from
you go.
Bridge trigger, and then you trigger, and then you sack this to hit your opponent for
If
72.
you have it all,
You don't even have to attack.
You don't
just
even
leave-
have to.
If you just have it all you
Because
need
your
to do
opponent
is
has
have it all.
Maestros out, and
Your
you need to
opponent-
stop that from happening.
If you're
Not at
like
all.
your opponent's playing, if you sided in against Battle of Wits, so you don't have to count. Yeah, you're good.
This
Where
is
are we
what
now?
our chat. This is what our text chats look like, guys.
Oops.
Just so
I
you,
screwed
just so
that
you
up.
all know.
Ledger Shredder.
So yeah, Ledger Shredder is next.
1 and a blue for a 1/3 bird advisor with flying. Whenever a player casts their second spell each turn, Ledger Shredder connives. Now this is dog shit.
I think this is actually the closest thing to Legacy playable so far on this spoiler set.
That's
I disagree because
totally
I
fair.
think no, that Titan is going to be in the natural order decks. So
This is in the same sphere as Fairy Dragon,
Sprite Dragon, yeah.
Sprite Dragon.
Yeah.
No, because you just cast spells and put +1/+1 counters on it. I guess you draw
This
a card
loots.
and discard a card.
This loots, my guy. Have you Murktide is
It
valuable.
loots twice a turn cycle if your opponent casts 2 spells in their turn.
No,
And
you can cast 2 spells on their turn too.
Yeah, I guess that's true.
You can go this into Misha's Bauble, loot, and now we're delirious. Now we're just delirious.
Okay, I like that. I guess I could see that. I feel like that's already out there. I feel like that kind of engine already exists and no one's doing it. Therefore, I can't imagine it happening.
I mean, the best deck in the format is doing it, but I agree that they're not going to play this.
No, they're not
No.
using a one of these, a 2-mana 1/3 that loots.
Well, if you loot, it'll be a 2/4, and then it's out of bolt range.
Okay, yeah, okay. Maybe I was wrong. Maybe this isn't dog
I'm
shit.
not saying that it's going to show up because it's not, but I'm
I
saying
guess
that it's
it's
the
a fucking
closest
rare.
thing.
Yeah, it is a rare. Like I
rare.
read that and thought like before I
it's like
read
an
it
uncommon.
and looked at it, I thought it was uncommon. This
Is
is
rare.
Could you imagine as a kid like opening this and being like, what did I just read? Like there's no way this is rare. So before we go to our next card, Nate, I'd like to tell you about Moxfield.
Okay.
That Moxfield is our sponsor. And they're a deck building website. Have you checked out Moxfield yet at all?
I
Nate?
have checked out Moxfield.
Yeah, so Moxfield's a really great place to build decks. It works on your PC, on your Mac. It works on your iPhone. You don't even need an app. It works on your Android. Again, you don't even need an app. And it's just a great place to share decks. And it's a great place to check out other people's legacy decks and EDH decks and Pioneer. And they also, early on, they were an early adopter of pre-modern.
There you
we
go.
were playing pre-modern a lot. I convinced the owners to jump on the pre-modern bandwagon and get that going. So if you
That
get
is
a
true. I've
chance,
downloaded many a pre-modern deck from
Yeah.
Moxfield.
and if you get a chance, go to moxfield.com and check it out for yourself. And yeah, that's it. Moxfield.com sponsoring the podcast. I thought I'd bring that up.
There you go.
Next on the list is Soul of Emancipation.
4 green, white, blue. It's a 5/7 avatar. When it comes into play, destroy up to 3 other target non-land permanents. For each of them, its controller creates a 3/3 white angel creature token with flying. Now, why would I do this when I could just get Terracodon and give them 3 things without flying?
Here's why. Is because maybe you want to give yourself a couple of things with flying.
The difference is that this
that's
can
right.
hit
I was
creatures. This can hit creatures and Terracodon can't.
If Terracodon hit lands, that's true. Yeah.
Yeah, the trade-off is Terracodon hits lands, but not creatures. This can
Too many
but not
words on all these cards. I forget which one's which.
Yeah.
I thought they
So
had the exact same text.
Terracodon being a 9/9 that can give your opponent 3/3/3s, or generally what happens is you knock out 2 of their things and one of yours, and then you've got 12 power, they've got 6. The main reason why I mentioned this is because if you want that Terracodon effect, but you want flyers for some reason, there's that.
Hold on. I'm trying to. You
can
can't
have
tutor
like
this. Trying to make a joke. You can't even tutor this with Grozoth because it's not a 9-mana card. Like you can with Terrastodon, which is not a 9-mana card either. 9-mana Terrastodon's 8. It's a 9/9.
If this were a 9-mana card and had Grozoth upside, then I think it would be the pick over Terrastodon.
Not enough people are playing Grozoth. What do you need? CMC 9? CMC equals 9.
Yeah, let's talk about Grozoth.
There are 49 Grozoth targets in the format.
Wow.
Or in the game. Because one of them's Infernal Spawn of Evil, which is not in the format. Anyway, okay. Rob the Archives? Is that where we're going?
Rob the Archives.
Where is that?
There's no comma there. It's not Rob the Archives like a guy called Rob the Archives.
Hold on, we're not skipping anything important. We're good. No, wait.
Look,
right there it is. I see it. Okay. I was passing. Okay, 1 in a red. It's a sorcery. Casualty 1. As you cast a spell, you may sacrifice a creature with power 1 or greater. When you do copy the spell, exile the top 2 cards of your library. You may play those cards this turn.
So let's clarify. Casualty 1, you cast this, and then before it resolves, like it has to resolve for you to sack your creature, correct?
You're literally doing it at time of casting. This is an additional cost. Yeah.
Perfect. Which is not what it says. It should say as an additional cost to cast a spell.
Yes, it should.
I don't know why it doesn't. That makes me feel like there's some sort of weird thing going on.
This is why I wanted to clarify.
The main reason why we want to clarify is because if you have a young pyromancer on the board, you cannot like sacrifice a token that hasn't been made yet by announcing the cast of this and then like trying to sack the token you're going to get from the cast trigger. You have to do this as it's being cast.
Right. So, and then you get, and your payoff for doing all that is you get to exile the top 4 cards of your library and play them this turn.
Yeah.
When you've already paid 1 in a red and sacrificed.
Yeah, that's the tough part is the already paying 2. It's a bummer that it's this turn and not like until the end of your next turn. Like I think this card would be much more playable if it was till the end of the next turn.
If it was just a strict upgrade to what's the 1 in a red one that came out last set or whatever?
I forget what it's called.
Reckless Impulse.
Reckless Impulse.
Yeah, if it was just a strict upgrade to Reckless Impulse, it was exactly Reckless Impulse, but also you got to copy it for free.
They were owning you in the QTs about Reckless Impulse. Yes. I don't know. There's another card that I think is better for this effect. Because of course Casualty 1 is Veteran Explorer. But even if you're not getting any selection, you're not getting any chance to hold it. So even though you're getting extra mana that turn, you're not getting a ton. So
you can play those cards, but it means that if you cast this on turn 2 after making your land drop, you don't get the land drop. And so it means that it's not a turn 2 play. It's like a turn 3+ play. And that's not where you want to be.
Unless your deck is full of Lion's Eye Diamonds and you hit them off the top and you like Lion's Eye Diamond, another 1 power creature, and then another Rob the Archives and another Lion's Eye Diamond. That's the dream, but you know, you can't set that up. So okay, where are we now? Soul of Emancipation. Wait, where did that one?
Endless Detour is the next.
Is Jaxis worth looking into as just a 2-mana blitz card?
We can talk about it for sure.
Well, I don't want to read it. So is one in a black to attack for 2 and draw a card every
it's 1 in a red for a 2/3 with haste, and when it dies you draw a card. But it has an activated ability of red, discard a card, create a token that's a copy of a creature you control, sacrifice it at the end of turn. So it means that
stupid.
It's 2 mana. You put it into play, it will draw a card when it dies, but it then has red tap because it has haste to just kiki-jiki something this turn.
Yeah, or it's 3 in a red to cast it. I don't understand what does this have to do with some guy with one of the Peaky Blinders? Like
you know, they're always
she's a bare knuckle brawler, bro. Yeah. Don't you know that when you bare knuckle see, here's the flavor. I'm going to give you guys a little lesson in flavor. Okay, here's how this works. Here's how this goes down. Okay, she's a bare knuckle brawler, right? She's going to hit you in the face, and then you're going to start seeing double.
Yeah, there you go. There you go.
Jaxis.
You did it.
Watsy really needs me to convey the flavors.
This is the same thing. It didn't make any sense, and also, you know, just like the cats and dogs.
Look, the tapping is like her hitting you in the face with a punch, right? She's
and then you discard a card.
And then, her throwing the punch is represented by the discard of a card. And then the double of the creature on the table is you seeing double because you've been punched in the face because she has haste and you're getting hit with the other. It's all coming together, okay?
Yeah,
and I don't understand
it all totally makes sense to me.
I don't understand how I have to put this together for you.
Endless Detour. Green, white, blue, instant. The owner of target spell, non-land permanent, or card in the graveyard puts on the top or bottom of their library. Nope. Never going to work at 3 mana.
The only reason I bring this up is it's very similar to Void Rend, where it's doing this thing, but like
the flexibility doesn't even matter. Return to nature doesn't see a play, and that is a disenchant that also messes with the graveyard.
It does effectively counter a spell without countering it. So if there's a situation where someone's void rending your thing, and you want endless detour, you can do that.
Probably why this is in the set.
Yeah.
Someone was like, "Oh, void rend's gonna make people crazy."
Something else about this card is that it's in the colors that don't need any help with any of these things.
Yeah.
Yep. 100%.
I mean, that is a cross that Legacy bears because we have access to every card.
Effect. Yeah.
Yeah. Do we care about any of these charms?
Okay, I want to talk. No, but I do want to because I don't want to read them. We're running out of time here. These cards take so long to read. I just want to say one thing about the charms, which is exactly what I was going to sort of what we're just saying, which is at 3 mana at this point, like 3 mana is just dead. That is the you cannot do a 3 mana cool effect really anymore. Very, very limited circumstances can you play a card like Kolagon's Command, which still was, when I played that in John, was still ranching people a little bit, but it's still like you can only get one because you cannot put that many 3 mana cards in your deck anymore that are not permanents that also draw a card, because every 3 mana permanent in this format is Teferi or Narset or something like that draws a card. You cannot just have flexibility at 3 mana. It doesn't count, even though some of these kind of draw. I mean, one of them literally draws 2 cards for green, white, blue. You could just play any other spell that draws 2 cards.
You can play Divination.
Yep. You could play Chart of Course, which is 1 in the blue to draw 2 cards if you attack. Phil's nodding. This is a thing that's you're gonna look at them, you're gonna see all the text, you're gonna say, oh, I'll put one of these in my sideboard because I can bring it against Zin, I can bring it against Lynn, I can bring it against Uro, and it's never gonna win.
Outside of combo decks where you're playing shit like Cunning Wish, Uro and War of the Spark have obsoleted the 3-drop slot from being anything other than hammers, and that's it.
Yep.
Well, here's my gripe is that these charms that we're not completing a 10 other charm situation. Like, we didn't need a 3 mana charm. They could have done something really cool here and been like, okay, Obscura charm is going to be Orzhov and blue. And they could have really come up with something, because some of these might have been playable at 2 mana, but I don't want to get into it too far. But that's just my like, as a design guy, that's the thing that I wanted to point out about these things. If they cost 1 less, and they could have done that because these aren't fulfilling any role otherwise, they could have been playable.
Yeah, I mean, it's too bad, but it's just not gonna happen. But that's the problem. It's when you're evaluating cards for Legacy now, that's how you have to do it. Like at 3 mana, once you get past 2 at this point, it's getting pretty bad. With that said, I guess we're going to talk about.
Yeah, let's talk about this 4 mana card.
Hold on. We don't need to talk about any of the cards in this row because they all suck and they're not going to see any play. But I will say that I believe it's pronounced Mr. Orfeo, but I thought of Mercutio from Baz Luhrmann's Romeo and Juliet, where he always called Romeo Romeo. So I am only going to call this guy Mr. Orfeo.
I almost had a heart attack. Like, it's not Baz Luhrmann, it's Shakespeare.
Oh.
Like, you don't know, but I'm like, but you meant that very specific performance.
I mean, that very specific actor who played Mercutio in that very specific director's very specific version of the very specific play by Shakespeare. Yes. So,
shout out to John Leguizamo for best facial hair in a movie.
Well done, Tim.
Queza, Augur of Agonies, 1 white. Queza, Augur of Agonies, 1 white, blue, black, 3/4, legendary creature, Cephalid Advisor. Whenever you draw a card, target opponent loses 1 life, and you gain 1 life. Guys, Yawgmoth's Bargain, unrestricted in vintage. What are you doing?
Yeah, that's easy.
It's a 2-card combo. You just get this into play, and then you get Yawgmoth's Bargain into play.
Hey, man, what about Brainstorm? What about Brainstorm? That's
no,
just 3 damage.
no, you just win. You just win.
Yeah.
Guys, I'm getting the sense that if you're drawing 19 cards,
Yeah.
yeah, I too would
You
put a
can get
4-drop
that
into
into
play.
play, yeah.
I also want to do this, yes.
But you get the okay. And Rocco, Cabaretti, Caterer. I do want to talk about it quickly. X, red, green, white. 3/1 legendary creature elf druid. When it enters the battlefield, if you cast it, you may search your library for a creature card with mana value X or less. Put it on the battlefield, then shuffle. Okay, so this is a 3 mana 3/1 that comes with the Dryad Arbor, or it's a 4 mana 3/1 that comes with like some sort of hierarch, maybe.
It's
Or
your
you
3 mana 3/1 that gets your Asmo. Okay.
It's a 3 mana 3 gets asthma. That's actually I'm gonna get that one.
Oh wow! Wow!
wait,
Give
can we
me
write that
ideas
down?
here. Here's my gripe with Rocco. Okay, he's a caterer and he doesn't make food.
He also
This guy
looks like
is
the Pope.
This guy is a major D.
Sounds like the
He's
Pope.
not a caterer because he's bringing people to the
Got his
party,
melter on.
right? He's bringing people to the party. He's a maitre d'. He's not a caterer because otherwise he would make food.
Okay.
I'm the flavor guy. This is a
I
flavor
will say,
fail.
wait, you get this. You can search up any elf, which means you can get or Wirewood symbiote. Doesn't even have to be a green creature, which is like Green Sun Zenith. I don't know. I could see this. I could see someone doing something clever with that. Asmo was pretty good. I'm now very into that because now you're searching your library 3 times in one turn, or I guess twice.
The crazy thing about this whole line, by the way, is that all these cards are uncommon, and they read like a rare, whereas like Ledger Shredder read like an uncommon.
Yeah, it's very funny.
Mr. Orfeo, yeah,
Mr.
Rocco,
Orfeo.
you can. I'm gonna let Nate do the brewing with Rocco because I've never paid Naya mana for anything in my life.
That's true. Where are we now? Looking at Zach's list here.
I really like Corpse Appraiser and really wish that the other 3 drops in the format didn't exist so you could play it.
Oh my god. Okay.
We can definitely talk about Corpse Appraiser. Lagrella the Magpie is basically just it hits what's the word I'm looking for? Fiend Hunter's like one of your guys and one of their guys.
Yeah.
Which is like
lame.
I don't know. It's not that great, but like these cards are interesting to me because they read like rares and they're uncommon.
Yeah. Corpse Appraiser was the one you liked. Blue, black, red, 3/3 Vampire Rogue. When it enters the battlefield, exile up to 1 target creature card from a graveyard. You have a card to put an exile this way. Look at the top 3 cards of your library. Put them into your hand, the rest to your graveyard. So you've got a. See, Phil. This is where you just like, oh, it's a ponder, but like, you just cast ponder.
Yeah, no, this card's not going to see any play. I'm saying that if we didn't have War of the Spark and Uro, we could maybe be like, oh, Grissa's Control might be interested in a card that deals with problem cards out of the yard.
Yeah, yep,
it's a 3/3 that draws a card and fucks up somebody's graveyard. Like that's pretty good.
The other, the Naya one of these just straight up draws a card. From the top 5, you find a creature, and it's a 4/2. Yeah,
and it has vigilance.
Yeah,
Elspeth. It's not a dog though. I don't understand.
So we're going all the way down to Elspeth now.
I've got a little chat.
Yeah, this is your Veteran Explorer combo card that you wanted.
Wait, a little chat is a card.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, I thought that was a note to remember to do the Moxfield.
Let's have a little chat. Oh, yeah, let's have a little chat.
I really a little chat. Hey.
This is what I was talking about. Yeah.
With even the score, somebody was like, I like even the score. And I was like, what's the score? And he was like, no, the card's called even the score.
I even like the score, you idiot. A little chat. 1 in a blue for an instant with casualty 1. Look at the top 2 cards of your library. Put one of them into your hand, the other on the bottom. So it's a 2 mana sleight of hand. That's instant speed. Sleight of hand is a sorcery. And if you copy it, this is what I was thinking with Veteran Explorer. You sacrifice your Veteran Explorer to this. You draw 2 cards. You get 2 lands. You look at the top 4 to get 2 cards. I think you do this before you search your library for lands, but I might be wrong. I think you might actually get to pick how that goes because the trigger is going to go on the stack. Maybe the trigger goes on the stack before the spell resolves. Oh, well, no, or this is there's a trigger. Cost. Yes, but there's a trigger on the trigger
the stack, when so it would resolve first.
No, there's 2 triggers. The casualty is a trigger. So you're gonna when you cast a spell, you sacrifice a creature that creates a delayed trigger, which also creates another delayed trigger of Veteran Explorer. So then this card goes on the stack, and then you sort your delayed triggers. So you can actually look at the top 2, put a card in your hand, search for your lands, then look at the top 2, put a card in your hand. Pretty cool if you have some reason to want one of the top 2 cards of your library that you know of. I think this could see play. I would play this with Veteran Explorer. It's slightly better than Village Rights. I mean, I guess it's slightly better than Village Rights because you get to pick from
better selection. Yeah,
you better selection.
And it's blue.
Mana, and it doesn't get iced by fucking Chalice, which has happened. Be like, oh, I'll just cast this Village Rights. Nope. So that sucks. Okay, let's go. Where are we?
It being a blue, I think also because it being an instant means that it can also catch something in response to like a removal spell, which is why it's better.
Yep. Well,
Village Rights could do that too, but like
yeah.
this one giving you selection is a huge game. Like selection over raw cards has notoriously been a lot better. Like expressive iteration versus predict. Like predict is very good, but like it's no expressive iteration, right?
Witty Roastmaster, 2 in a red, 3/2 Devil Citizen with creature fall that it deals 1 damage to each opponent. That is a combo win if you want to find it. Which it really is. I mean, it really is because you there's going to be a way to cast infinite creatures or make infinite creatures at some point. So maybe your EDH deck. Where are we?
I wanted to talk about the Shattered Seraph, like that cycle, as a way to get around like a Blood Moon.
Where is it?
So Shattered Seraph they're commons, and their text doesn't matter aside from that each of them have 2 exile this card from your hand, and target land gains the ability to do Esper or Jund or Grixis or whatever, and then you can cast this card from exile.
These will never. People would rather lose to Blood Moon than have these in their deck.
No, this would be a sideboard card. Like I used to play in Rug Delver, I used to play like a forest in my sideboard. I think I'd rather have this than a forest if I could cast it. Like I'm not going to obviously put this in Rug Delver and then not be able to cast it. But I don't know. That's just an interesting effect, and I'd like to see more of stuff like that happen.
But the thing is that if you have a forest, you can fetch for it before the thing happens that you're afraid of.
This is true.
And fetches are broken.
So.
I mean, you're the guy playing Forest in your Esper deck, so I mean, hey.
Yeah, Phil.
I am most notorious.
Boom, roasted.
Yeah. So here's the thing. Well, here's the thing. If you were like, "Hey, Phil, are you gonna take that Forest out of your sideboard to play one of these?" My answer would be a hard no.
No, that's true. You definitely take your Forest out of the sideboard to play something.
No, I'm still playing. The only reason that I have any clout at all in this community is because I played a Forest in my sideboard.
All right,
this is why we picked you up for the cast.
Elspeth Resplendent. 3 green or 3. Let's not. I don't want to. That's too much to read.
Hard. Nope.
Vivian on the Hunt, though, I do want to read because it does have a combo win. 4 green. It's a 4 loyalty legendary Vivian. +2. You may sacrifice a creature. If you do, search your library for a creature card with mana value equal to 1 plus a sacrificed creature's mana value. Put it on the battlefield and shuffle. The +1 mills 5, and you get creature cards milled this way, and -1 just creates a 4/4 Rhino. So the win with this is Planebound Accomplice, which now has been bought out, which from Modern Masters is a sneak attack with Planeswalkers. That is 2 in a red for a card that lets you sneak a Planeswalker in, and you could use its loyalty. You sacrifice the Planebound Apprentice, you get Felidar Guardian. You use the Felidar Guardian to blink the Vivian. Vivian can now be used again. You use the +2, sacrifice the Felidar Guardian. You get a Karmic Guide. Karmic Guide triggers. You get back the Felidar Guardian. You blink Vivian again.
Yep. And then
you blink Vivian again. You +2. You sacrifice the Felidar Guardian again. You get Kiki Jiki. You tap Kiki Jiki to copy the Karmic Guide. The Karmic Guide copy triggers, brings back the Felidar Guardian, which blinks Kiki Jiki, and that's how you win. Oh my god!
That is one of several ways.
That explains the white powder on your palm.
One more thing.
Okay,
there was a poster. I gotta say, I did see a poster post that in the Leaving the Legacy Facebook group. I'm sorry, I don't remember their name. I should have written it down. I just thought it was really funny. I thought it was really funny to like, you know what? It took like 30 seconds for someone to find a combo win with this, and I think that's cool.
Zach,
I think this card is good, by the way. I think this is actually not that you're ever going to get a 6-mana Planeswalker into play, but if you're going to get one into play, this one's pretty good. +2 probably does something horrific, and then otherwise just makes a bunch of rhinos. So like you just put it into play, and
if you do not edit Ace Ventura next to Nate as a short, I am leaving the cast.
I will do my all-time best.
Okay.
Can we talk about why even the score is the shittiest mythic? The shittiest mythic ever is even the score.
It's not mythic, is it? It is mythic.
Yeah, it is mythic.
It is mythic.
Even the score is a blue X spell instant that says this spell costs triple blue less to cast if your opponent drew 4 or more cards this turn. Draw X cards. Even if it happens, even if it costs it only X, your opponent has drawn 4 cards, achievement unlocked, and somehow this goes off and it resolves. Even if that happens, it's still a horrible rate. It's still the worst rate.
I mean, we went over this in chat as well, and like your best case scenario here is your opponent brainstormed in his main phase, and then you get to cast this for X. Whereas like
but
now,
even if it's drawn. Literally, we talked about painful truths earlier in the cast. That's just the 3 mana draw 3.
Yeah, I mean, well, effectively, your opponent in that scenario has only like netted 1 card, their draw step, and you've netted.
No, they've
X
netted
equals
so much
whatever.
more. They've also netted your draw step when you drew this card. They netted you putting mana into it.
Yeah,
like,
hey, it's an instant, man. You can do it on their turn.
Angel of Suffering, 3 black for a 5/3 Nightmare Angel, has flying. If damage would be dealt to you, prevent that damage and mill twice that many cards. Still think that's gonna end up being some sort of weird combo win.
Yeah,
Someone's
it's a bummer that this is
Fastest
this
Oracle.
costs
Yeah.
3. Sorry, that this has a 3 butt, because like it would be a valid card to play against like a burn deck.
Yeah, just like Crumbling Sanctuary.
Yeah.
But you can just mill and you just put something like you play this and what's it called? Guy's Blessing. You can never lose against that.
But like this card says, just vote this instead. So it's like
it would be very funny. Like Mother of Runes, if this is a hard block against burn, or like really against any deck. If you have Guy's Blessing in your deck, it'd be very funny. The Urabrask you wanted to talk about, but I don't think that's any good.
Yeah, it's not good. Urabrask exists, and it's not as good as the other Praetor that we talked about in the last set that was not good enough.
Bootlegger Stash, 5 and a green artifact. Lands you control have tap. Create a treasure token. Why do you need treasure tokens if you've made 6? I guess
I don't know, man. I just know that like somebody's gonna do something weird with this card.
Only thing I could think of was Goblin Welder or something. Like there's some sort of Goblin Welder thing where you're getting this out, but
I mean, you have to be welding.
I didn't go
to
beyond
make that to make it worth putting this into play. I don't know, like Geopur, the Aether Grid or something like that comes to mind, but like all this stuff is like at best like modern power level. So maybe
you could tap. Yeah, it makes your Cannoneer huge, and then you still have mana that turn.
There you go. Yeah,
Cannoneer needed help.
Yeah, Cannoneer needed and green.
Giada, Font of Hope, 1 in a red or 1 in a white for 2/2 angel, legendary angel, flying and vigilance. Each other angel you control enters the battlefield with an additional +1/+1 counter on it for each angel you already control. Tap, add white, spend this mana only to cast an angel spell.
I'm pissed that Entreat the Angels is not technically an angel.
Does not work. Well, not only that, but it also you don't get +1/+1 counters equal to the amount of angels you cast because it's for angels you already control.
That's
again a word
shit.
I've never seen that.
This would have been so cool with that. And also, I just want to mention that I would had I never heard this name like somebody else pronounced it for me already, I'd have been like Gaida.
It's Giada de Laurentiis.
Oh, okay.
It's the same
okay,
name.
so this is Nate, please go into that because that's actually the most interesting part of this card.
that is this Giada de Laurentiis, and she's not some sort of cook. They could have done something. Yeah, they could have done something interesting. They could have. Yeah.
Is she a person that I should know? It sounds like
it was a Food Network host.
Okay.
Everyday Italian. Yeah.
Man, we're just coming over.
I'm a binging with Babish guy myself.
We're in the streets of New Capenna. That's based
Rochester,
off
New
of
York.
Italians, based off of Italian city and a lot of Italian names here. No food. I don't know what we're doing.
No food. No food. Yeah. Shadow of Mortality, 13 black.
Oh, we're not going to talk about Aaron? I thought.
Oh, I skipped it.
Tons of stuff to say about Aaron.
Do I though?
It's too many hoops. You gotta have a copied spell already. Like,
yeah, the only thing I would say about her text or about her thing is that she's a 1 mana blue legend that turns on Mox Amber.
It is a big deal that it's a 1 mana blue legend. Here's what I would love to know. I want to know in design where they were like, We got to give her defender.
Yeah.
Got to have it. It's too powerful without defender.
It's his 0-3. We can't.
It's got to have our street artist that apparently like comes in really quickly, does really quick street art, and then runs away. She can't attack. Can't attack.
Shadow Mortality, 13 black, 7/7 creature avatar. If your life total is less than your starting life total, this spell costs X less to cast, where X is the difference. Zach, you already did a short on this.
I did a short on this, so go check out that short. I'm sure I'll try and link it in the thing right now.
You're wrong.
Worse than this.
It's not as good as this.
I didn't get that. I guess I didn't.
So my thing was this card we'll see play if in Death Shadow specifically if Murktide Regent goes away. Until then, like, we're playing Murktide Regent, guys.
Yeah, I think that this card is interesting to me. It's not perfect right now. It's a 7/7 like no matter what, right?
Yeah.
And you can gain back the life you've lost. So you could do a thing where you're like, I have to, like, I want to use my life total as a resource to get my 7/7 into play for black, and then I can gain it back. That's possible. It's the one thing I thought was Sylvan Library, Children of Corliss. Like, you Sylvan Library, you just draw cards, you just get a bunch of extra cards, you cast this as a 7/7, it doesn't get bolted. And then you can sack Children of Corliss to get it back. There's a deck I want to build around that. I've actually played it a couple times already, but there's a card that they will not release on Magic Online, no matter how many times I don't ask them, but wish they would. But that would be good for it, that I haven't had a chance to do that. But I do think that there is something there where it's like, okay, yeah, you can cast this at 7, and when you're at 7, and then gain your life back. Also, a Swords to Plowshares on this one doesn't kill another one in play.
Yeah.
Or strand one in your hand. So all things that are useful. Where are we?
Hideaway, the Hideaway enchantments.
None of them are playable.
Yeah, I don't want to read them.
The only one that I thought might be playable was the Cemetery Tampering one.
Reservoir Kraken. Did you pick this just because it's funny that it's not it's like they don't have reservoir dogs in the multiverse? They have Reservoir Kraken. Like, no,
this is
this thing is stuck in the middle with you, and it's like a Kraken with a straight razor in every tentacle.
Yeah. No, I just thought this was interesting because it's a 6/6 for 4 mana, and obviously you're never going to get to attack with it, but it's making it's basically making a creature every turn.
I wonder what else in the format is a 6/6 for 4 mana.
Is it Murktide Regent? And it's got flying.
Maybe my 6/6 for 4 mana will also gain me 6 life, explore me twice, and draw me 2 cards, and also control the table.
Yep.
Shakedown Heavy is basically just what's called you can Swords to Plowshare a Phyrexian altar, a Phyrexian arena.
Whenever shows defending player may have you draw a card. If they do, untap Shakedown Heavy, remove it from combat. Yeah, it doesn't matter. Like the big rotting dinosaur is a 7/7, right?
Yeah. Also 3 drops. This is a 3 drop.
Yeah, but so is that. Yeah.
Yeah. Are we talking about Extraction Specialist?
We had to talk about Evolving Door simply for how stupid the whole thing is. One, it's called Evolving Door. I'm sure they thought that was very clever. 2 and a green for an artifact. 1 tap, sacrifice creature. Count the colors of the sacrifice creature. Then search your library for a creature card that's exactly that many colors plus 1. Exile that card, then shuffle. You may cast the exiled card. Like, what? The only thing I
thought this was playable until I realized that you had to
cast it.
Cast the damn thing.
The only thing I thought was cool with this was you could just you could sacrifice Ornithopters, find what's that blue card that you can cast from exile? Mist Hollow Griffin, and just kind of store them in exile for when you have a food chain. I thought that was kind of funny. Why did they do so stupid? Oh my god!
So, I'm kind
what's
of curious,
the point?
Yeah, that's what I was going to ask. I was like, why make something that is just objectively worse than the other thing that people know about that this is obviously referencing?
And give it such a stupid name. That's the other thing. Because what is the evolving?
You also have like evolutionary. What is it?
Evolutionary Leap, which I actually think is unironically better than this.
Yeah,
well, Evolutionary Leap was a callback to Survival of the Fittest. This is obviously a nod to Birthing Pod, but it's not like it's you having to cast the card as part of this spell's effect. It's not like you can just sit on it.
Yeah.
If you could just like have it in exile and then cast it any time, then it's really powerful. But
yeah, and also you have to activate this ability as a sorcery, so you can't like respond to removal.
Two years ago, they're giving prison effects on planeswalkers that are also draw engines, and now everything can only happen once per turn.
Once per turn at sorcery speed.
Just a total.
If you have no cards in your hand, you can do this at sorcery speed.
Let's see, where are we?
Sleep with the fishes. Hey.
Rogues Gallery, I actually don't know. You could ask Brian about this. 2 and a black for a sorcery. For each color, return up to 1 target creature card of that color from your graveyard to your hand. I feel like you could do that with that cycling deck. Maybe not. I don't know if it's better than Reaping the Graves. It's the same cost, but you don't have to cast any spells.
That's a pauper deck, and this is uncommon, so it's probably.
Oh, then never mind. Okay. Torch Breath, X and red for an instant. This spell costs 2 less to cast if it targets a blue permanent. It can't be countered, and it deals X damage to target creature or planeswalker.
I bring this up because it can't be countered, and it is a easy way to kill a Delver. That's
until literally today, I did not think people would play 6 Pyroblast effects in their deck, and I was like, you're probably maxing out at 4 Pyroblasts or 4 Red Elemental Blasts. So, if you really want a 5th one, you could put this in. I do think there's a little bit to say where this card is main deckable technically, because it is like,
you could actually kill something with it.
You could kill something with it. It can't be countered. So, like a Dragon's Rage Channeler, like again, you're probably playing the mirror if you're playing this card, but like you can kill a Dragon's Rage Channeler where there's no delirium for 1 in a red without worrying about days, and of course you can nuke anything else. You can it eats a Delver for 1, and then Murktide Region's a little bit easier to beat. Again, you don't have to it can't be countered, so you don't have to worry about that. And it's you take out your Teferis, you take out your Narsets along the way. Like this is the reason why you can't play Jace, though. I mean, this would just destroy a Jace.
Give me the old Colonel's 3-piece.
I got like 5 minutes here. Let's see.
All right, patch up. 3 mana sorcery, 2 and a white.
Return up to 3 target creature cards of total mana value 3 or less for your graveyard to the battlefield. I actually like this card a lot. You can get 3 Children of Corliss back, by the way, so you can just gain a bunch of life after you get your 7/7 into play. No, I like it. I think we're gonna find that Soul Sisters deck in Legacy eventually. With Vito, who should have been in this set. We should have seen Vito again. Hey,
Vito.
Pyre Sledge Arsonist. That was the one we were talking about before.
2 in a red, 2/2 Viashino Shaman, 1 tap. Pyre Sledge Arsonist deals X damage to any target. Rexes the number of permanents you sacrifice this turn.
It just feels like the sort of thing that you would try in a Mardu deck.
I would try this card, except that it has to untap.
Yes.
There was a spell that did this. I would be all over it, but I don't think that's gonna. That might happen.
Luxurious Libation.
X in a. I'm sorry, I'm trying to help you out here. X in a green instant. Target creature gets +X/+X until end of turn. Create a 1/1 green and white citizen creature token.
So I don't think I would play this in fact, but it does get around edict effects.
That would be very funny.
That's like the weird circumstance where you'd be like, oh, okay, well, and the thing is everyone's playing Sudden Edict now, so like, or whatever that is, the one that has
you can't respond to it.
Yeah, so that it's kind of,
don't even need to do that anymore.
Yeah.
Okay, we're gonna find. I want to talk about this card. Nixilus.
Offer you can't refuse.
He's down. He's down in the next thing.
Okay, Nixilus, the adversary. 1 black, red, legendary planeswalker, 3 loyalty, casualty X. The copy isn't legendary and has starting loyalty X. So you can sacrifice a creature with power X, and when you do, you copy it. The copy becomes a token with loyalty equal to the power of that creature. +1. Each opponent loses 2 life unless they discard a card. If you control a demon or devil, you gain 2 life. -2. Create a 1/1 red devil creature token with. When this creature dies, deals 1 damage to any target of a -7. Target player draws 7 cards and loses 7 life. Which I guess the idea here is that you have a 7/7 that you sacrifice and then just draw the card.
I mean, for me, like that's Death Shadow, right? Or even Shadow of Mortality, right? Like
you
if
have
you've
a
got it out.
7/7 Death Shadow, you literally can't draw 7 cards off this thing.
No, I'm hitting my opponent for 7, man. I'm swinging in for 7 and doing another 14 to them, man. They're dead.
I guess that's true.
Get it going.
What's the fun in that? Just fling it.
Hey, man. I don't know. Because sometimes fling's terrible and you can at least cast this card and get some value out of it.
Sometimes.
I will say
sometimes fling is terrible. Only sometimes, though. It's only sometimes that fling, the very much staple card is terrible.
More, yeah.
I do think Omnixilus is quite good because 2 planeswalkers on the table for 3 mana is actually solid, but there's a lot of deck building restrictions, and the deck building restrictions are such that it's never going to be in a not tier 2/5 deck.
I think this card sucks.
Know.
I don't think the plus doesn't. I don't think the plus does enough. It doesn't do anything.
You don't think you could play this in like a Grixis control deck as like a one-off?
Yeah, but I think play a lot of 1 black red cards that would win.
Like
this card is very much
Snapcaster Mage.
You need an aggro slant. You're +1ing. Like the power of this card is that you have 2 copies, both plussing to deal potentially 4 damage a turn. So has to be an aggressively slanted build, and that's tough to do in Legacy because Delver exists. But like that's where this card has to exist. Otherwise, it's not going to like. This isn't a value card.
You also have to have a creature in play. So your control deck now that has had a creature in play.
Well, that's what I'm saying. You can't be a control deck playing this card.
Right. You have to be an aggro. It's got control. It's got control abilities on a card that you can't play control with. So
above the Corpse Explosion is not as good as it could be because it is a 6 spell in Diablo 2. It's my favorite thing.
Objectively not control abilities.
When we went on our tour with the birthing class when my wife was pregnant the first time, a woman came out of the NICU and said, "Oh my God, baby explosion," because there were like a bunch of pregnant women, their husbands there. But I said, "Oh my God, that sounds terrible. Is he okay?" And no one thought it was funny. She had walked out of the NICU. Yeah. Nobody gets baby. Yeah, no one likes baby explosion humor. Just such a stuck up group. This black market tycoon is hilarious. It's a cat that makes treasure.
Yeah, I couldn't figure out a way that you would ever want to do this, as it's basically just a mana dork.
Stimulus package again.
Scheming Fence
the mob doesn't do stimulus packages. The government does stimulus packages.
Yeah. Can we do one card that on this list? None of them are playable, but we do need to talk about how fucking dirty WotC did security rocks. My boy Brickwall Balzano. They literally call him a legendary creature in the flavor text, but he's not a legendary creature in a time when literally every creature is a legendary creature.
Yeah, total bullshit. And
what
these artifacts
that is.
Okay, we got to talk about Luxior, Giada's Gift. That's a 1 mana equipment. You can equip it to a planeswalker, which makes it a creature that can activate loyalty abilities. But
so everybody put this on Devoted Druid.
Yeah, Devoted Druid. Yeah, that was okay. That's already been talked about. Unlicensed Hearse, 2 mana artifact vehicle. Tap, exile 2 cards from a single graveyard. Its power and toughness are each equal to the number of cards exiled with it. It's a crew 2. Man, it was so good to just hit someone for 20 after just.
Is this the best card in the set? Is this like actually the only playable card?
This is like a solid sideboard card, right?
In the whole set, this is a main deckable card. Is this the only card in the whole set that even has even remotely close to a shot?
Like I would play this as a sideboard card in an 8-cast. I would just be like, okay, cool. Now I've got game against I'll just slam a soul land, slam this, and now they can't.
Total bullshit that you can't Karn plus to just make this star. If you Karn plus, it becomes a 2/2. I hate that. And
Cement shoes.
Okay, that. No, that sucks. That's the Brass Knuckles because it makes 2 things, but it's 4 mana, so you get 2 crappy equipment from.
If you Karn the Unlicensed Hearse and it becomes a 2/2, does its text not override Karn's ability?
Nope, because that's I already went over this with someone. It's layer 7.A is unlicensed flavor text, but layer 7.B is the Karn. So
fucking got you.
I wanted it to be true.
No. That's what I'm saying. The layer system fucking got us in the point A and point B part.
Such dog shit. Yeah, I know. There's a bunch of lands that sacrifice, draw a card, but they dual lands, but they come into play taps, they won't get played. And oh my god, these are all nothing. So
yeah,
that's your set,
and we're not going to talk. Yeah, that's the set. I think this is scaled down in power from the last set.
But there's so many words on every card. My head hurts.
Yeah, well, we did it, guys. We got through the set. Next week we'll talk about some of the commander cards that came out. Also, like, I don't know, we'll probably talk about a bunch of the spoiled cards from the
Baldur's Gate.
The Baldur's Gate card. Like, so many cards got spoiled. It's kind of
another set where I don't know the rules of the game that I'm looking at. Like, what is going on? You're venturing and you create a background. Like, what?
Yeah, I think that's just like.
Am I at work? What's going on?
Am I at work? Sometimes the complexity of design does feel like I am staring at a spreadsheet. But yeah, Nate, it was wonderful to have you back on the cast.
Always fun to come back to these set reviews. I'm sorry that we didn't that we didn't make more Italian jokes.
If you guys want to see Nate back here more often, hit the like button.
There's one card. I'm just going to request. I know we're on the end of it. There's one card out of the commander set that I think actually might maybe make it.
Okay.
And it's Benny Brack's Zoologist.
Oh yeah. But,
all right.
But we'll talk about. So we can talk about that now. But yeah, it's a good card because it was draw a card for every token that comes into play, or like once a turn, draw a card.
Three and a white for a 3/2 elf druid with Convoke. And at the beginning of each end step, if you created a token this turn, draw a card. It's okay.
So because it's Convoke, so it's theoretically a free creature.
Yeah.
Like in the person who's trying to make tokens work, I feel like this is one of the best payoffs they've ever made for tokens ever.
What's that monument that makes a creature? The white one. Oketra's Monument.
Oh.
So that's 3 mana. It's a legendary artifact. So that would make this only 2 to convoke, or 2 and a white to convoke, and then it will trigger, make a creature, and then they'll draw a card. So
the fact that convoke can work with no mana, like if you just have like something plus lingering soul, like I don't mean to go into lingering souls because it's 3-drop, but like the fact that this can just be free off your creatures and then just become a draw engine where you're ancestraling every turn.
Yeah, you
and a lot of decks are not.
Whoa! You don't get a token for each or card for each token. You get a card if you created any amount of tokens.
Right, but you can do it on your turn and their turn.
Oh, okay. Yep. You could figure out something.
So every turn cycle, you can draw 3 cards.
Keldor Outpost is going to see play again, guys. You heard it.
That would be pretty sick.
Anyway, obviously we don't have to go too far into it, but I'm like, if there was a tokens deck to be had in Legacy, I feel like this is easily the payoff that like lets you continue to churn. You know what I mean?
Yeah, you could Urza Saga will create a token on their end step and on your turn. Right there. You have an Urza Saga. Yeah. All right.
You can use the token. Yeah. Okay. Anyhow, thanks everybody for watching. Catch you next time.
Good to be back. Have fun, everyone.
Hey, thank you for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Check out this other video, and if you can, please support us on patreon.com.